Hey everyone, have you ever failed so much in your life that your entire Wikipedia article is a senior class essay bashing your entire legacy? Yeah, I wouldn't know. Well, the Philips CDI suffered the exact same fate.
The Philips CDI, also known as being one of the absolute biggest console failures in the history of gaming, surpassed only by the Nintendo Virtual Boy. This was by far one of the worst fails in gaming history. But how did it happen? Well, we need to go all the way back to the 1980s. During the Super Nintendo console's development, Nintendo had made a few deals with different companies to attempt to make a CD drive for the SNES to either be built in or as an add-on. These companies were Sony and Philips respectively. Sony and Philips began working together on a CD drive for the SNES. That was until Sony split off due to disagreements over specs and pricing.
And that's how we got the PlayStation. It was literally made in spite against Nintendo.
After this, Nintendo went fully into working with Philips. However, with the SNES now in a rapid development phase, and Nintendo having to compete with Sega, Nintendo opted to just ditch CD gaming and focus on cartridges for the SNES's release, so they could release it and compete better with the Sega Genesis.
The second split resulted in the Philips CDI becoming its own thing, and so, fear and chaos was unleashed upon the world.
Lamp oil, rope, bombs? You want it? It's yours, my friend, as long as you have enough rubies.
Now that the CDI had become its own thing, the focus began to make it into a sort of all-around Swiss knife of a utility. The original plan was to be an interactive entertainment hub with gaming, movies, music, photography, a radio, CD player, and small personal computers. However, the CDI managed to fail at doing all of this.
So the I stands for dog shit.
It was sort of advertised as being more than a game machine. Instead, it was the future of entertainment. The CDI released on December 3rd, 1991 for the measly price of $700. Now, this might not seem like a lot. However, this is about $2,000 in modern day.
Mind you, everything that the CDI was set to do, people already had systems that did the exact same thing, but better. Most people already had radios, game systems, and, for some, computers. So there really just wasn't a point to just throw a bunch of money into a CDI system. Also, side note, during marketing, the CDI was also said to have been this major new competitor in the gaming space that would continue to rival consoles 20 years from when it was released. Which, sure, SNES versus CDI. Who wins?
Anyway, the CDI was released with 6 games, all being mostly puzzle games: Connect 4, Tetris, Lemmings, Dark Castle, Sargon Chess, and Battleship, but would receive a total of 27 games over the course of its 7 years on the market, as it was officially discontinued in 1998. The most notable releases being officially licensed Mario and Zelda titles. Despite partly splitting with Nintendo, Philips had a good connection with them, allowing them to make a deal and have a few Nintendo games on the CDI.
Unfortunately, Nintendo had very little part in making these games, resulting in the games being not the best. In my opinion, I think the original plan was that if the Philips CDI did good, Nintendo would just buy out Philips. And then Nintendo's future consoles would all just be entertainment hubs using the same technology as the CDI. Granted, this sounds cool, but it just never really worked out.
Regardless, these games are still a very wild piece of gaming history and continue to be made fun of today. And if you want me to make a video on those games, consider subscribing. I make a lot of content similar to this and upload semi-regularly about video game topics. So if you like that, subscribe, maybe even leave a like. I'm trying to reach about 1,000 subscribers before 2026, so anything helps. Also, comment about what other videos I should make. Anyway, back to the video.
After the CDI's initial release, many consumers were left very confused by the system. The multimedia, multi-purpose aspects just didn't really catch on, especially because everyone already had systems that did the exact same thing. Not to mention the price was incredibly high, with a very low processing power, making everything that it could do in the first place extremely lackluster. However, there was one thing that the CDI managed to excel in, aside from being bad.
One of the many features for the CDI was that it could be used as an educational tool thanks to its ability to play games, videos, and audio. Titles like Compton's Encyclopedia, Sesame Street games, and art games were all made and advertised to kids and their families for education. However, none of these games did well because most, if not all of them, could be found for much cheaper on other hardware. And if you haven't picked up on it yet, the CDI was a massive failure, and just couldn't really get a stable grip on the market. And so, 4 years after its release, games stopped being made for it, and 3 years later, in 1998, the Philips CDI was permanently discontinued. Its legacy stands as an example of overambition that led to no one really caring. Sure, the idea was cool, but everyone already had everything the CDI could do, and better. It never really caught on anywhere, and only sold a measly 1 million units worldwide, which is still a lot, but not what they were planning for. The Philips CDI stands as the 10th worst gaming console in history.
But hey, it made this video, so it's infinitely worse than how it was before. But that's all for today. Again, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. And if we reach that goal, I'll be sure to make a video going over every single major console failure in history. So let's try and reach that goal. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your week. Bye!
Sorry, Link. I can't give credit. Come back when you're a little, richer.